game. The game is way past where you were. And you guys are still doing goofy shit, taking people out of context and not knowing that people are going to make YouTube clips showing what he actually said versus you. And it's going to undermine your credibility even more.
Who said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally?
Obama was my favorite president. He's the best spokesman other than Clinton of all time. Now I think he's a liar.
Yeah.
I look at that thing of him saying, he said there's very fine people on both sides. That's not what he said.
So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history, you're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Well, the first pro-election Joe Rogan episode has dropped, and he's doing a bit of, you could tell he's pretty happy, but he also offers some pretty good advice for President Trump, advice that I also agree with. He had Dave Smith on, who is very, very smart, and if you haven't watched his content, you absolutely should. It's wild. Of course, the media now melting down, raging at Joe Rogan for daring to endorse Trump. Look, most people, level-headed, even-keeled people in this space, Democrats even, call Kamala Harris, her decision not to do podcasts definitely led to costing her the election. Look, Flagrant yesterday released information that Kamala Harris, even though Trump did it, Kamala Harris called their show a risk, a brand risk. So she didn't go on. And so in their first post-election episode, they were gloating a little bit about that, even though they have some Kamala supporters on their show. Same thing with Joe Rogan. Made a terrible mistake, and he shared some pretty big bombshells yesterday. I want to go through with you. By the way, shout out to Meta PCs. Promo code quartering. You see them behind me. When you're in the market for a new computer, custom builds, ready to ship PCs, laptops, cases, accessories. It's the computer I trust to run my entire business and have for years. I have like kind of a good, better, best page linked in the description, but you can also kind of do whatever you like. Also, I've extended the sale at Coffee Brand Coffee, my coffee company. We have 5 organic teas. We have something like 30 different coffees, all available whole bean and ground. We also have K-Cups available, and we have this beautiful advent calendar, which is the only thing not on sale. But if you haven't tried my coffee, tea, or real cacao cocoa, give it a go today. Promo code VOTE, 15% off. Now, Joe Rogan now realizes voting works, but only because Trump won. They're big mad. What are they big mad about? This exchange. Joe Rogan says the Trump election win is one of the first times there's a real chance. Wait, that's not the clip. Here's the clip. Joe Rogan raises serious questions about Joe Biden's 81 million votes in 2020. I'll just let him speak. Again, there was a lot going on, lockdownerism, where they were able to go door to door to door to door and just literally harvest ballots because everybody was locked down. There's a lot of questions around there. I'm not going to re-explore that now because Trump is president again. But this is the clip that enraged everybody.
What do you think about that thing I sent you today that compares the number of people that voted in 2020 versus the number of people that voted in 2024 and in 2016?
Sure does look strange.
And in 2012. Have you seen it, Jamie? Yeah. It's so crazy. You look at it and you go, is this real? Oh, here it is. Because it doesn't seem to make any sense, because this is like one of the most consequential elections ever. I think everybody's pretty aware of that, and everybody is very dug in on their side. The left, he's Hitler. The right, he's saving us. And so more people voted, at least the indication would be, as much people voted in 2020, if not more. Probably more people voted. But let's look at the numbers. Like, look at the difference in how many people voted for Biden.
This is what's funny is there are people on the left now who are seeing this data and they're like, what the heck's going on? We're missing 15 million votes. And a lot of people on the right are like, welcome to the party, pal. It's
in 2020. It's unprecedented. It's way higher than any other time since 2012. And I'm sure probably before that, there was less people back then, right? So if you go back to when I was a kid, there was only like 200 million people in this country.
Yeah, and to be clear, 2012 and 2016 were not low turnout years.
No, they're
Like,
all consistent.
yeah.
This is what's crazy. They're consistent. Look, they're all like 60. Look at where the number is. It's all like 65 million. Is that what it says?
Yep.
So that's all the same every fucking time except 2020. In 2020, it goes way the fuck up. Look at it. It's like 80 what? Is it 82?
81 and a
Is that what it
81
was?
million scoops of ice cream.
81.
Yeah.
So it goes up a fucking sizable chunk.
I mean, 30%. Yeah, like, now again, I think that we cannot underestimate the lockdowns. They were able to go door to door in highly densely populated areas like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, in these swing states, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, Georgia, right? And literally sit there and wait for people to fill out their ballots. That's what they did in 2020. That's why they got so many more votes. That's why I was saying for months, and I'm no genius, you guys probably knew this too, we were never going to see that many votes again. We're never going to see 150 million votes for another 20 elections. I mean, obviously our population goes up. That'll happen. But I mean, so of course the media is like, oh, Joe Rogan now realizes voting works, but only because Trump won. As much as we effing thought they had everything rigged, as much as we thought there'd be shenanigans and BS, it's a puppet show. There's no way anyone can buck the system. Turns out voting is still real. He added, it was too big to rig, repeated a slogan Trump adopted at rallies, encouraging supporters to turn out and support for him. Look, even Trump had fewer votes in 2024 than he had in 2020, and it felt like just about everybody imaginable who was going to vote could vote and did vote for Donald Trump. I mean, so there was also an element of lockdownerism that raised his total vote count as well. You see, despite that, the former president continues to assert that he lost 2020 unfairly. I don't believe that it's fair to go door to door and harvest ballots. That's what I believe. Some people use their own words. Some people call that rigging. I would just say that it's shenanigans, that you shouldn't, that's not how voting should work. You should have to go and vote. Like, mail-in ballots are supposed to be for soldiers who are overseas and like the rare exception where somebody literally can't leave their house or something like that. It's not supposed to be a, quote, more convenient option. You know, like, that's not what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to go to the poll. That's how you actually, you know, keep things straight. You require ID, use paper ballots, you know. Rogan accused the media of gaslighting the public into believing Harris would win the election with preliminary polling numbers and accusations that Trump was dangerous. Later in the podcast, Rogan theorized that something was skeptical about the 2020 election because seemingly had higher voter turnout, specifically in favor of Biden, than previous elections. Votes are still being counted in 2024, so there's no way to currently tell if the election... Child, please, they're not going to find, again, 15 million more votes for Kamala Harris. Like, that's just not the case. I would argue that the rhetoric and the urgency was ramped up to 11, even bigger in this election. So the idea that, you know, suddenly this election people are less involved is bonkers, you know? And you can see how optimistic he is.
But it's Donald Trump as the messenger was so polarizing that people lost what's really going on just based on who this guy is, who has, like, just like Tony Hinchcliffe is an insult comic, Donald Trump's entire career is, you're fired.
Yep.
You're a loser. Rosie O'Donnell's a loser. Like, that's his whole shtick. And you expect him to course correct once he gets into office? No, he's not. That's not who he is. You elected that guy. But along with that, now you get RFK Jr., you get Tulsi Gabbard, you get Elon Musk, and you get J.D. Vance. You get brilliant people
Vivek,
who aren't
too.
ideologically captured. Two of them who used to be Democrats. One of them
Probably
that
still are.
probably knows more about environmental polluting
Yep.
and about the problems with pharmaceutical drug companies and health and the consequences of all sorts of pesticides and herbicides, ingredients in your food that should be banned that are banned in another country. You got that guy in there now.
Yep.
And we got a real chance to make real change. This is like one of the first times ever where there's a real
He's
chance
so
to
happy.
make real tangible change that's going to be for the good of everybody.
Yeah,
He's got to unite people. He's got to not attack the left and not attack everybody. Let them all talk their shit, but unite. Now it's time to unite everybody.
That's the advice he offers Trump, and I 100% agree with that. At this point, their attacks are worthless. You're the president. You got 4 years. As Kamala would do, put your head down and do the work. You see a great clip of Rogan explaining how the mainstream media has lost credibility. They go on and talk about that.
The game is way past where you were. And you guys are still doing goofy shit, like taking people out of context and not knowing that people are going to make YouTube clips showing what he actually said versus you. And it's going to undermine your credibility even more. Obama was my favorite president. He was the best spokesman other than Clinton of all time. Now I think he's a liar.
Yeah.
I look at that thing of him.
He is a liar.
He said there's very fine people on both sides. That's not what he said. He said, I'm not talking about the KKK and white supremacists. They should be condemned.
It was so clear.
So
he made
clear.
it totally clear. And what he was saying was that there were very fine people on both sides of the arguments about tearing statues down.
Yes.
Like he was saying, look, it's reasonable that there are some people who are like, no, this is our history. We want to keep it up. And then there's other people who are like, this represents slavery or something like that.
Yes.
We want to take it down. And then first off, it was clear when he said it that that's what he meant. And then they ask him a follow-up question. Are you saying the white supremacists are very fine people? He goes, no. How many times do I need to say that? Yeah. No, I am not saying that any of the white supremacists. And like, that's not enough.
And then there was a sneaky thing that they used to do. They would ask him, will you disavow white supremacy? Will you disavow white supremacy? Like, what are you talking? First of all, that's like saying to someone.
Will you say bad things are bad?
Will you anything, any crime that you would never do? Like,
Right.
will you disavow murder? Like, of course I'll disavow murder. Oh, well, all of a sudden you're implicated in something we have.
I mean, it's absolutely hilarious to me. And then you see this call, which I wanted to share. Tony Hinchcliffe.
But the fact that he did it, whatever. It's like
He actually calls him. Hold on a second.
Access.
call Tony Hinchcliffe.
Let's see. This is great too.
Hey, dude, you're live on the air right now with Dave Smith. I need to answer a question. I need a question answered. Did AOC ever come to see Kill Tony?
She says that she did, but we're almost positive that she didn't. I never met her in any of the shows in LA. I mean, she could have conceivably have bought a ticket to Madison Square Garden, but she never posted about it.
Well, she
Right.
probably wouldn't post about it. It's too sketchy. Your show's sketchy.
Yeah.
But so how do you know that she says that she was there?
She tweeted that she's been to a taping.
I don't
and all
believe
that
that.
stuff went down. She said that she's disappointed in me, and she's been to a taping. I can't remember the exact tweet right now, but it was the day of the Madison Square Garden Trump thing. She posted, "I'm really disappointed in Tony Hinchcliffe. I'm a fan of Kill Tony and have been to a taping." Something like that. I don't want to misquote her, like
she's
she would
lying.
certainly do to me.
But she's been there and she was surprised? It makes no sense.
Yeah. No, nothing these people fucking say make any sense. They're out of their goddamn mind.
AOC getting torched. I love that the cracks are showing. I love that the system is falling apart. I hope you are too. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. Don't forget Meta PCs when you're in the market for a new computer, gaming or otherwise. And give my coffee company a try. We're been in business several years now, 100% money back guarantee. You won't find a better advent calendar anywhere. I'll tell you that right now. And you won't find better tea and coffee available in whole bean, ground, and K-Cup. We'll talk to you again real soon.